Chioma Mbama is an indigene of Anambra State, both born and raised in Warri Delta. The charming and articulate graduate of microbiology from Igbinedion University had both her primary and secondary education at Twins Fountain and Igbinedion Education Center, Benin, respectively. Chioma believes in being thorough in whatever she does, and she proceeded to acquire some cake making skills in 2010. As her passion for baking grew stronger, in 2012 she enrolled for several professional courses in sugar crafting, Wilton basic decorating, sugar flavors, and lots more within and outside the country. She successfully completed all and established her baking business, Chipsy Hoven, right here in Abuja. A thoroughbred baker and sugar craft artist, Chima has trained over 100 students from cake shows to private classes within and abroad. She is happily married to barrister Huston Emeka Mbama and blessed with two beautiful daughters. She attributes her success in cake business to the Almighty God. Join us as we take our chat with the young and vibrant baker Chioma Mbama.
The difference between who you are and what you want to be is what you do. Today with me on Baker's World is a woman who has pursued her dream and has achieved great success. Join me as I welcome to the program Mrs. Chioma Mbama. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good day.
Well, what has kept you going in this business?
My family, they've been very supportive. My husband, my kids. I pray a lot. God has helped my business, and the passion for the business has kept me going. It's not as easy as people see or think it is, but I wake up every morning and look forward to going to my job. So I think it's a passion also.
How do you push your level of creativity when you have to design or make a cake for your various clients?
I just get inspired by what people do. Cake, it's art, if you ask me. I've always wanted to do art, but I'm happy doing it in the cake form, you know. Clients, everybody is different. Everybody has what they love, how they want their order to be. Sometimes people will send you pictures to inspire you, like, I love the way this cake looks like. Can you do something similar? And I'm like, oh yes, I can, but allow me do me, you know. So for the creativity part, I think it's everything around me inspires me.
For clients who don't know the type of cake they want, or the type of decoration, or the type of toppings they want, how do you choose for them?
I have my menu I send to you. And if you don't understand anything about the menu, I start asking you about your taste bud. Obviously, before coming to me, you've tasted cake and you want good quality cake. That's why you came to me. So I advise you on flavors, I advise you on topping, frostings and fillings. Then I also ask you what your budget is. If you tell me, oh, I don't spend between XYZ amount, I'll tell you the sizes that falls in that range. If you tell me, oh, you want something bigger, I also tell you the price and all of that. That's how I help my clients out.
What does it take to achieve success in this business?
I love the term successful because I look at it like it's a journey for me. Every day is a journey. I really don't see myself in that light, no offense, but I work very hard. Very, very hard. Like, I don't know, I work around the clock. I literally don't have a break except on the holidays. So we have to, myself and my team, we sit down, we talk about cakes, talk about drawing of cakes, like, let's do this like this, let's do that like this. Sometimes it's very successful, while sometimes it's error. But you have to keep trying. Cake is about trying your best. Like, you do it today, it doesn't work, you keep doing it until you get it right.
Let's talk about today's cake, the white velvet cake. What makes it exactly white velvet? And on what occasions do you need a white velvet cake for?
First of all, I'll say the reason why I chose the white velvet cake. It's because I'm a lover of vanilla. I love vanilla cakes a lot. But now they have different types of vanilla cakes. For the white velvet, it's a category of its own. It's very spongy. I know you tasted that.
Yes,
it's very fluffy. It's baked with egg white alone, so it's very light and airy. So I recommend that for like a dessert cake because that's the area where I know I love handling cakes. So I did that, and I also did a whipping cream frosting. Now you can have different frosting with a white velvet cake, but all should be like in the dessert form. You don't want to have anything fondant on it because of how light and soft it is. Fondant to compress it. This cake right now has changed. It mustn't be fondant anymore. There's buttercream, there's whipped cream, there's chocolate ganache, there's cream cheese ganache, there's Swiss meringue. So white velvet cake falls in that category. But anything fondant, I wouldn't do fondant on a white velvet cake. But it's a celebration cake. Anyone can have it at any time.
So let's talk about your proudest moment. What's your memorable experience in this business?
Oof. So far, for we bakers, there's someone they call Cake Boss Buddy. We had this cake fair in America in Orlando, Florida. And I went for the fair. So the first time I met Cake Boss, I used to watch him here on TV a lot. So it's like, ooh, starstruck. Then the first time I made a cake, now I'm giving you different instances. You said my proudest. I'm getting to the proudest one. The first time I made a cake for my husband on his birthday, he was amazed that I made that cake. It's not as fantastic as now, but then it's like, wow. That was like amazing for me, the reaction I got. Then, 2018, the first time the presidency called me to make democracy cake, their planner. Afterwards, I think I scored, and they called me back for the independence cake. Now, that's just felt like, hey, Mom, I made it. So, that was really huge for me. So I think those are like the proudest moments. I know the best is yet to come, but for now, that's like the sky is the limit kind of thing for me right now.
What are the challenges that you face in this business? Because we both know it's not all 100% rosy.
The weather, sometimes it gets too hot for the type of cakes we make. Then the most important one, like when delivering wedding cakes or any type of order that is really huge, the roads. Bad road, potholes affects cracks, shifts your cakes. So you have to make sure you dwell it well. You have to make sure it's set properly. You have to make sure everything in the cake terms have been done right. Then take it to the venue and sometimes assemble in the venue. Because when you're working with soft recipes like red velvets, chocolates and all of that, you don't want your cake looking funny after all the hard work. So you go there and assemble in the venue.
Well, thank you very much for coming on Baker's World today. It's been a pleasure having you.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure being here too.
It inspired me, and I'm sure a lot of people are inspired out there. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was our chat with Mrs. Chima Mbama. We'll take a quick break now, and we'll be right back. Hope you've had an amazing and exciting time on Baker's World today. I'm sure you've learned how to make a white velvet cake. Well, until next time, it's bye for now.
Nigeria is on the rise. Our industrious people are creating, developing and setting trends that are adding values to businesses, arts and other endeavors. The National Productivity Center is engineering the process, promoting and nurturing the country, businesses and individuals to productivity consciousness for more income and higher standard of living. Because if you do more, you will get more. In the new Nigeria, it is easier to do business, and the National Productivity Center is here to ensure efficiency in your resource application so that your output is more and of better quality. Build a solid productivity system today. Contact the National Productivity Center. National Productivity Center, your key to growth.
Tribe, religion, and culture. So we keep preaching on love. That is the only binding force. Let us love ourselves, irrespective of where the person comes from.
You are about to witness the commencement of the most stimulating and compelling contest on television. This contest is only for the strong, the intelligent, and the talented. Get ready for the Unity Challenge reality TV show. Coming soon.
My name is Yemi Adetunji, the COO downstream of NNPC. Ever since the closure of the borders, we have seen a marked reduction of about 10% in terms of the evacuation of what you call loadouts of PMS, which equates to about 6 million liters per day, essentially because of the border closure.
This is the network service of the NTA.
It is a Wednesday night, of course. You know it's News Extra night, and today it's really extra. If you call the Buhari government a government of infrastructure development, you won't be wrong. And today the Federal Executive Council reaffirmed it with approvals to enhance critical infrastructure in roads, aviation and water resources. Also today, the issue of insecurity is high on the agenda as the House of Representatives moves to reenact the Police Act. The Supreme Court reviewed its judgment on Bielsa. That is an interesting one, and we will give it an extra touch with a live guest. You don't want to miss the interview, I tell you. If you know you are a kidnapper, don't operate in Nasarawa State, as Governor Sule is not smiling and he has plans for you. We will tell you all about it as well. It is really very, very interesting. And of course, there is more. You know, the Christian faithful are on a 40-day fasting and prayer. We'll talk about that too. We have business stories, health news, anti-corruption, sports, and much more. But as I always say, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. So let me feed you. I am Fatima Umaruba, and this is News Extra. And we begin with FEC. The federal government has approved about 32 billion naira for the enhancement of the nation's critical road infrastructure, as well as aviation and water resources sector for the growth and development of the economy. The decision was at this week's meeting of the Federal Executive Council, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, but we'll bring you the report much later in the course of the bulletin. Now, the newly appointed chairman and commissioners of the National Assembly Service Commission have been inaugurated. The inauguration ceremony, which preceded the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council, was performed by President Muhammadu Buhari and State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the details.
I will do right to all manner of people of according to law.
Ahmed Kadi Amshi, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers from Yobe State, is the chairman of the commission established in line with the provisions of Section 3, Subsection 4 of the National Assembly Service Act 2014. Born in 1954, Ahmed Amshi is a first-class bachelor's degree holder in mechanical engineering and master's in public administration from the University of Maiduguri. He served as permanent secretary in the Yobe State Civil Service, executive secretary, Nigerian Society of Engineers, and was also the chief of staff to the then Senate leader between 2017 and 2019. Those sworn in as members of the commission were Babagana Modu, Borno, Senator Abubakar Tutare, Taraba, Hakim Olabode Akamu, Lagos, Motunrayo, Akintomide, Ondo, Francis Atano, Meyowi, Delta, and Basi Olusegun Etuk, Akwa Ibom State. Others are Yusuf Bilyaminu Shinkafi, Zamfara State, Sani Said, Kazaure, Jigawa State, Senator Julius Ali Ucha, Ebonyi, Awalu Aliyu Ohindase, Kogi, and Muazu Ishaq, Nasarawa. There was no presidential address at the ceremony, but the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, expressed confidence in the ability of the newly appointed members of the National Assembly Service Commission to live up to expectations.
You will agree with me that we have a very high quality, high caliber of people on this commission, and therefore we expect that the commission will be very effective and efficient, and the time is of essence. Members of the National Assembly need the kind of staff and aids that will enhance our activities and our performance.
The business starts today, and I believe they will operate optimally in the interest of the National Assembly, in the interest of the country, most importantly. So we're looking forward to a robust National Assembly Service Commission.
The chairman of the commission, Ahmed Amshi, and other members were full of gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari for the confidence reposed in them and promised not to disappoint.
We are really ready to put in our best with our past experiences to see how we'll move the nation forward in this line of assignment that we are put into. We have already set our agenda to make sure that we have a high-capacity National Assembly staff that will work with the legislators to make their work easy, simple, and they give us a good legislation to the nation.
And according to the oath we took today, we'll stick by that and make sure that the commission and the staff are really proud of our administration.
We are going to work as a team and achieve the desired result. The rule of law will prevail.
With 2 members drawn from each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, the National Assembly Service Commission leadership is to run a 5-year renewable tenure. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And the Senate Committee on Public Accounts has acknowledged submission by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, among other agencies, on extra budgetary spending out of the 2019 budget appropriation. Appearing before the committee, the Director General of the NTA, Yakub Ibn Mohammed, said the funds utilized by the agency within the year were the overhead for the conduct of the 2019 general elections. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
It was a meeting to investigate various allegations of excess public spending and transactions that were not included in the annual budget, as well as recovering various loans granted to some agencies based on the 2015 report by the Auditor General and Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. The Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Yakub Ibn Mohammed, told the senators that the alleged extra budgetary 9.1 million naira to the NTA was less than the overhead utilized for the general election.
Money requested by NTA for the coverage of the 2015 election, but the sum of 9.14 million is not anywhere near what NTA would have required to cover the 2015 election.
We are even closer. That's why we call you. That's why we call you here. But if there's any other things we want to call you for, after going through this report, we are hereby discharged.
The National Youth Service Corps and the Nigerian Communications Satellite provided submissions on alleged loans granted to them by the federal government.
That's 1.522 billion was part of what Mr. President approved to cater for the co-members who were on camp about to pass out.
The company wrote to the budget office at that year for budget subvention, not a loan.
Others who appeared before the committee were the Independent National Electoral Commission and the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company on the 2014 PHC and pension allowances. The hearing by the Senate Committee on Public Account is aimed at ensuring proper adherence to the provisions of the Public Procurement Act. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Well, thank you so much, Abdullahi. I kept on saying 2019 is actually 2015. I apologize for that. Now, some structural deficiencies of the Nigeria police force, as identified by the Parliament, are as a result of the current act in use, which dates far back to the era of colonial rule, that is 1943 to be precise. This informs the decision of the House of Representatives to repeal the act and reenact a bill which it believes will make the force more efficient, accountable and transparent in line with the best global practice. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The bill, which seeks to strengthen the Nigeria police force, will provide a framework to, among other things, address the issue of tenure of the Inspector General of Police and ensure cooperation and partnership between the force and host communities in maintaining peace and combating crime.
With the diverse problem of internal security in Nigeria, police is still using an act that was put together by the colonial masters. A police of 2020 should not be using the act that was largely, the content of the act that was largely the product of 1943.
This bill should also consider the basic, the minimum requirement of being employed into the Nigeria Police Force.
The bill was referred to House Committee on Police Affairs for further legislative action. A bill seeking the establishment of Southwest Development Commission took the most of plenary Wednesday as lawmakers across board gave it overwhelming support. The legislation makes provisions for the allocation of funds from the Federation accounts for infrastructural development and addressing environmental challenges in the Southwest.
The Southwest is home to every Nigerian virtually.
Development in one region in the country is development in Nigeria as a whole.
This thing started from the first university, from the first radio station, from the cocoa house. All this is spread all over the country. This bill should also be replicated in other zones of Nigeria.
Also debated at plenary is the issue of sex slavery. House members expressed concern over the number of Nigerian women and girls being trafficked and resolved to carry out an investigation with the aim of tackling the menace. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
There's an adage that says, when birds learn to fly without perching, hunters need to shoot without missing. Now, how does that apply to the ongoing drive by the federal government to combat internal security threats? Defense correspondent Ismail Musa, who was at an event organized to proffer solutions to the nation's security challenges, seeks answers to this question.
Insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, and pipeline vandalism in the Niger Delta regions are some of the emerging internal security challenges that have killed, displaced thousands of people, and property worth billions destroyed. The federal government has strengthened the nation's security architecture with introduction of different platforms and deployed new strategies to curb the vice that is stemming development in parts of the country. This National Security Seminar, organized by the Alumni Association of the National Defense College Abuja, in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor and the National Defense College, is aimed at providing research-based solutions to present security threats.
It will amount to misconception to assume that the armed forces alone
can effectively deal with all aspects of insecurity in the country without giving serious attention to the root cause.
President Muhammadu Buhari, in a message at the event, notes that the federal government has developed a high-level partnership with the international community to effectively address insurgency, cross-border crime, and other challenges.
Smuggling of economic goods, weapons, and trafficking in drugs and persons have reached such an unacceptable levels that the government have to consider temporary close of our land borders with a view to taking closer look at how to address such challenges.
The seminar, the 10th in the series, is with the theme Combating Insecurity in Nigeria. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
What a man can do, a woman can do better. Well, hold your horses. That is a maxim that has been around for a while. Now we are being told the patience and sensitivity of women can be handy in critical conflict resolution dynamics of the military. A lecture in Abuja aiming to encourage greater inclusion of women in the armed forces examines leadership areas where the unique characteristics of women can be utilized for service to the nation. Kelvin Ihunai reports.
The military is presumed to be a unique profession. It is physical, and military operations are risky. Observers believe that these attributes of the military makes it unattractive for many women. This lecture at the auspices of the Center for Gender Security Studies and Youth Advancement, University of Abuja, is essentially to change the narrative.
There is no job without its associated risk. Going by my personal experience, I can testify that the military as a profession is a noble one.
We have seen them during their shooting competitions. We have seen that females are even outdoing the men. Why don't you give them the opportunity?
Like catch them young. This is a learning institution and most of them are just in 100 level. They may even decide to change their mind to pick the form to join the academy.
The revelations by female members of the armed forces certainly rubbed off on Vivian Chije. She's a 300-level student of theater arts. Now, Vivian fancied a career in the armed forces.
They leave the comfort of their houses, their family, just to go out there to save people. So sure, I'm really motivated, to become one of them, like a soldier in particular.
Sustaining awareness forums like this can help in raising the consciousness among young girls to emulate Flying Officer Kafayat Sani, female fighter pilot in the Nigerian Air Force. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
An anti-kidnapping law with death penalty has come into effect in Nasarawa State. This is after due diligence and presentation by the State House of Assembly to Governor Abdullah Hisali. Ali Tijani Mohammed reports.
In recent times, there have been increase in cases of kidnapping in Nasarawa State, with a permanent secretary being the latest victim. Government has taken steps further to tackle the criminal act with the enactment of law against kidnapping. The signing of the dotted line by Governor Abdullah Hisali marks the commencement of the implementation. The provision of the law states that anyone found guilty of engaging in kidnapping will be sentenced to death or life imprisonment depending on the gravity of the crime. Also, any property used to perpetrate kidnapping will be forfeited to the state government.
This bill spells out various offences relating to kidnapping and prescribes stringent punishment for perpetrators, such as life imprisonment and death penalty.
Similarly, the governor also signed into law Child Right Executive Order, making education compulsory for every child and take Almajiri children off the streets in the state. Violation of the law attracts 10 years imprisonment. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
And to judicial matters now, the Supreme Court has dismissed the application filed by the All Progressives Congress and former governor-elect and his deputy in Bayelsa State, seeking review of its earlier judgment. The judgment read by Justice Amina Augie dismissed the application for lack of merit, and Vera Chimwa reports that the court awarded 30 million naira cost against the 3 applicants.
In a unanimous decision, the 7-man panel of the Apex Court held that the application filed by the APC and its members lacks merit, and that the applicants failed to point out the error. The judgment, read by Justice Amina Angiu, said the application is frivolous and an abuse of court process. She said the decision of the court is final in line with Section 225 of the Constitution, and that the court does not sit an appeal over its decision, emphasizing that there must be an end to litigation. The court also held that a situation where every dissatisfied litigant will bring similar application will amount to bringing the finality of the court judgment being lost. Justice Angiu awarded 10 million naira cost against each applicant to be paid by their counsels to PDP. Counsel to David Leon, Afe Babalola, earlier argued that the court acted without jurisdiction and also denied his client fair hearing. Counsel to PDP Tayo Yotibo had asked the court to dismiss the application as no element of fraud had been established.
This judgment today has re-established the finality of the position of the Supreme Court and judgments of the Supreme Court.
It would have been scandalous if the court had acceded to the request to review and change its judgment 2 weeks after it was delivered. Because if we are so, you will find that even judgments that were delivered 10 years ago will be brought back to this court to be changed.
The court is trying to discourage such application from the younger ones.
The APC had brought the application seeking review of its February 13th judgment, which overturned APC's victory in the Bayelsa State governorship election. In Abuja, Vera Chimwa, NTA News.
Well, thank you so much, Vera, for that. And now joining me to paint a clearer picture of the situation is Kayode Ajulo. He is a legal practitioner. It's good to have you on News Extra tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So we've seen the Supreme Court has ruled its judgment, and it has reviewed, its judgment. And it came in as a surprise to so many, as that the Apex Court always had this jurisdiction?
Well, I don't think it should come as a surprise to anybody. And I think I need to correct one assumption. Supreme Court never reviewed its judgment, particularly on this case. What it is this. It is so clear that when it comes to Supreme Court, the Constitution has stated it so clearly that there shall be no appeal that will lies on any judgment of Supreme Court. That means that once the judgment has been given, that is final, irrespective of how faulty, how unacceptable that judgment may be, and that's what makes it supreme, final. But some people may believe, oh, let us review. The question is that, what are you reviewing? There's no way. And even if you have to review, the court's rules are stated in what way that rule you can review such, and that is just simply slipped. Maybe they make 1 or 2 mistakes in computing in time, or maybe even clerical mistake. That's what it is. But this review is what is very, very strange. It is unnecessary indulgence, which we must thank the Supreme Court for trying to correct all the parties and to see this is exactly how to go about it.
But would you say with this series, of reviews coming in, how would you attribute it, or what would you attribute it to?
I want to attribute it to what it is. And mind you,
then what is it?
I want to attribute what it is. Everyday courts always give judgments, ruling, and nobody complains. But when it comes to political issues, how politicians believe in anything can happen, anything, you can bring anything and it may work. And that is what caused this thing. There are a lot of cases that have been educated upon every day, and nobody raises any issue. And I believe that is why we need to let Nigerian knows that when it comes to some cases, there should be end to litigation. And that is what Supreme Court did today. There must be end to litigation. Because if care is not taken every day, as long as you have the money to pay lawyers, you continue to come to court. And that is not what it should be.
Now, when you go to social media, you see people complaining that it is, some of these requests are, frivolous, they're not really worth it and all of that. Now, as a lawyer, what would you say should be done to discourage all of this?
I think what should be done is what Supreme Court did today. It should be known to the whole world, particularly Nigerians, that there is always an end to litigation. Once the matter has gotten to Supreme Court, and once Supreme Court has already given its judgment, the Supreme Court remains fontus, official. You need not do anywhere. If you need to appeal, you appeal to the Almighty God. This is what we know right from the time from the cradle. It is just, the way politician believes they need to perform miracle. And when you look for miracle, I think the Supreme Court has already told you that there's no miracle in anything.
So Supreme Court says it's final and it is final.
It is final.
So people should know that.
Certainly.
Okay, so thank you so much, Kayode Ajulu, for coming on News Extra and clarifying this for us. Yes, and that was Kayode Ajulu. He is a legal practitioner. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the composition of a monitoring committee for the commission in line with the provision in Part 4, Section 21 of the NDDC Establishment Act. A statement by the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says members of the committee are Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, Chairman, Minister of State, Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Omotayo Alashadura, member, and Olushola Adeshola, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, member. Other members are Mr. Shamsuddin Bello, representing Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, and Mr. Charles Ike, a representative of the Federal Ministry of Environment, Atanda Kolawole Musliu, representing Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Ms. Aisha Umar, representing Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Dr. M.K. Mohammed, representing Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, and Todority Modo, representing the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, while Mr. Alfred Abba, a director in the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, is member and secretary. And up ahead on News Extra, we go spiritual on a day that marks the beginning of solemn repentance for Christians and a symbolic reminder of human mortality, as we urge you to look out for the bold step taken by a state in the north that has a huge potential of tackling the out-of-school children phenomenon. Stay with us.
Nice. You're welcome. Please, where's the restroom?
I'll just go into your right. Thank you.
Follow.